thank you all for joining this wonderful panel, Disrupting the Market, how AI in the hospitality industry is effectively changing the game. We're very excited to have three very esteemed panelists on board today. We have Jens, who's CEO of Robotic Therapeutics, a leader in AI-driven robotics for wellness services. We have Peter, who's the founder of the Future Communicator. He's our digital communications and AI specialist who helps hospitality brands navigate the intricacies and complexities of AI in their communication strategies. And finally, we have Klaus, who is our Chief Evangelist and Development Officer at Ideas, specializing in AI-powered revenue management and pricing strategies. Hopefully, by the end of the session, gents, everyone here will still have a job, right? No one will get robo-copped, as they say. So welcome, and thank you for being here. The 5 themes that we'll be covering today, effectively we're talking about the transformative impact of AI on the industry, the enhancement of the guest experience, finding as well that middle ground between the human touch element and the integration of AI, and finally addressing any challenges and also the future trends that we see in the industry and in the integration. Starting off with our first theme, which is the transformative impact of AI on hospitality, and I'll start with Jens. Jens, how do you envision AI-driven robotics transforming the future of hospitality, particularly in body treatments and the wellness industry?
Yeah, let's start with the history of Robosculptor. So 2009, we have developed a product for massage and for body contouring, performing a technique called vibro compression by spheres. To use this technology, you have to have pressure on the body to get the mode of action and to get the result of better blood flow, better lymphatic drainage. There is a heavy handpiece. So we sold 1,000 of these units, and actually the customers came to us and said, it's a nice device, we get good results, but it's physically strong to do this treatment 60 minutes or even 80 or 90 minutes. So they asked us to develop a robot, and in 2019 we were thinking about, yes, makes a robot sense, it's a big investment for us, and do we see a market and what can we do? Then we did some research, and we saw in hospitality, especially wellness and spas, there can be a future for us in delivering a robot technology doing vibro compression by spheres. Because of the robot is actually a product or device which is a loyal team player. It can work 24/7, there's no vacation, no salary increase, and it is a predictable treatment. So the patient who is coming and getting a treatment from a Robosculptor, it doesn't matter where he's getting the next treatment in the world, he will get the same experience with a robot. And we saw that there is an opportunity for us, and then new trends came up, like longevity 2-3 years ago, and after COVID we saw touchless wellness coming up as a trend, and we actually got really motivated to work further on this technology.
Very good. And how do you see the cost of these technologies enhancing with time? Are you seeing on a monthly basis cost enhancements, or is it on a yearly basis? What's exactly happening here in terms of the cost to produce such technologies?
The cost of the technology is, of course, in the numbers first very high. We're talking here about a big investment which we did, and the return on investment our side has to be there as well the return on investment for our customers. So our market which we are approaching is more in US, Middle East, Europe, and markets where you have high labor costs. And if we do a finance, which we will offer as well as Robosculptor, then you have maybe a leasing rate which is in US half of the labor cost of a therapist.
Very good. Thank you, Jens. Next up, Klaus. When it comes to revenue management, how do you see AI transforming the industry, and specifically around pricing strategies in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, the first part is that AI has been around for a long time, longer than most of us on this stage. And if you think about the movie Space Odyssey, came out in 1968, and that was all about us speaking to a robot or AI, which didn't go well. But here we are 60 years later, and we're still talking about, hey, we're going to speak to a artificial intelligence soon, right? So it's not new. It's been around for a long time. The field of AI has been around since 1955. And revenue management has been using AI since at least 35 years. So we've been around for 35 years. So it's not new what we're doing. AI has always been around. It's always been part of revenue management. What's new now is the way you're interacting with technology is changing. The barriers are coming down. You can interact with technology much more naturally and much more in a conversational style than before.
Democratization of AI.
That's right. Yeah, it's a good way to say that, right? Democratization about interacting with technology and AI. But in revenue management specific, we have used AI for 35 years in our company, and we use that to turn out 18 billion decisions every day to 30,000 hotels around the world, and we do that before 8 a.m.
Then let me ask you, how the last 2 years have been obviously very transcendental in the global context in terms of how AI has been democratized. So how has that specifically affected the revenue management industry?
Well, in general, technology allows you to do things faster. For example, we've started to use AI for the configuration of our system. It used to take days for a person at the hotel to sit down and configure the revenue management system. Now it comes pre-configured because we have data collected from around the world, publicly and other data, and we use that to pre-configure the system, and we ship it to the hotel and say, because of the hotel type that you're at, here's what we think works best for you. So it reduces it from 3 days to hours to get your system up and running.
There we go.
One case of using AI to become more efficient.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the 3 days to hours, this transition has only been relatively recent in the
last couple of years. Yeah,
couple of years.
Yeah,
Exactly.
100%.
So this is, in fact, what we're seeing a lot in terms of tasks. And I've been to a conference with OpenAI, and they talk about 5-hour tasks turning into 5-minute tasks, 5-minute tasks turning into 5-second tasks. And every new model that emerges reshapes that understanding of how long a task should take. So it's impressive, but it's scary at the same time, of course. Peter, how has your background in digital communications and AI shaped your approach to helping hospitality brands finding their voice and communicating more effectively in today's age?
Yeah, I should probably give you a little bit of context. So I'm not from the hospitality sector. I'd worked as the UK government's chief digital communicator, and I started experimenting during COVID with WhatsApp chatbots to reach hard-to-reach audiences. So that was the starting point. And as I was leaving government, ChatGPT arrived, and I was like, this is going to change everything. Like, if you think about it, for the first time in human history, you have almost access to sort of data like never before, and you're able to then tap into that in a human way. So we started the Future Communicator, and how we've been approaching it is one of the areas where there's huge opportunity is in hyper-personalization. You can develop strategies, and then you can find out, and I know it was touched on in the last session, you can start targeting people as individuals. So rather than blanket advertising or messaging, you can look at individual people because the technology allows you to go to that granular level. And for us, that's been huge. The one thing I would also say is people get scared of AI. They genuinely do get scared of it. I'd say a lot of stuff is made to be really easy to use at the point of use. And with a few simple hacks, you can make a big difference.
Interesting. So for your case in particular, it's about the technology becoming available before you deciding to jump into it. Only when you realized it came to that level of an AI prowess or user-friendliness that you decide to jump into it. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I was experimenting around the edges. It wasn't like your company and yours who are really deeply involved in this. But for me, its easiest user case is communications and marketing in any organization. And I think the hospitality sector, particularly from the moment somebody's deciding whether they want to take a holiday right through to them returning from the holiday and uploading their images onto social media, there's an opportunity at almost every touch point for AI to help you decide which holiday you want to go on, right through to the other side, which is telling everyone about the experience you've just had. So it's incredible for the sector.
Absolutely. Now, I'd like to move on to the next topic, which is enhancing guest experience and personalization. Starting off with Jens again. So what role do you see AI massage and similar technologies play in enhancing that guest experience at wellness-oriented hotels or resorts?
Yeah, we just mentioned with AI that personalization is something which is very important. And this is actually what I'm seeing will come more and more, not only in wellness and spa. So the guest is the most important business piece in our world. So AI and AI massage is not only personalization, it is predictable. It is safe, and it is, as I said, 24/7 available. So as I'm traveling around the world, and sometimes I'm coming late in the hotel at 11 p.m. and my back pain is really high, you don't get a massage. So if you have a Robosculptor in your facility or in your hotel and you have your code, you just book an appointment through an app. And for 11 p.m. and the robot is ready for you. You put in your code, and you get the same massage which you get last week in another place. So this gives personalization. This gives quality, and no surprise. Because surprise, if you book a massage, you don't know who is coming. Sometimes it's very nice, it's very good, but it can be also the opposite.
Yeah. Jens, what I found super fascinating, I read about this recently, the AI scans the patient's entire body and understands the exact shape and contours. And when it goes ahead with the actual treatment, the exact amount of pressure is, and the awareness of those contours make it hyper-personalized to that degree.
Yeah, that's totally right. So we have 4 3D cameras with infrared light, so we are measuring the body. We do millions of digital pinpoints, so we know the heights, the depths, and the widths, and we know actually everything from the outside of the body. And even if the patient is moving, so the robot is following the patient, so it's very nice to see. We actually double check the robot through an iCloud, where there is a special algorithm that if you start the program, that the iCloud is double checking if the robot is doing the procedure right.
Wow.
So there's a safety feature that if the robot is, for whatever reason, losing the control, let's say electricity or no access to internet, it stops.
Yeah. A fail-safe of sorts.
It's fail-safe, yeah.
Okay, interesting, Good. I don't want to know what the worst-case scenario with that looks like, so I'll leave that to the imagination. Klaus, how do you think AI can help hospitality companies better understand and predict guest behavior when it comes to driving personalization and increasing revenue specifically?
Yeah, it's huge. I think everyone is trying to merchandise and digitize and personalize in the industry. I frequently talk to chief commercial officers and CEOs of some of the largest companies in the industry, and what I hear consistently is we want to sell more, and we want to sell it more targeted to the people that are really converting at the highest level, right? So the whole journey towards digitizing the journey and then personalizing and then merchandising, which is really selling more than just the room, is really where the industry is on at the moment. So with artificial intelligence being able to pinpoint to a very small audience and understanding how that audience would react to a price, an offer, a package, how to best put it on the shelf and put it in front of customers, and then taking that information to generate an even better offer next time, is becoming more and more automated, or it is becoming, it's already automated.
Interesting. I just thought of an expression, maybe it's cringe, but so we talk about hyper-personalization, but in your case, it's hyper-personaization.
Sure.
Where the definition of personas and how to specifically market to them has become way more intensified in the granularity in which you can specifically identify them and exact them.
Correct.
Would you say that's the case?
It's similar to the example we saw about Abu Dhabi and how they're trying to target different customer groups. Is the AI can now spin up. You can take all the content that's available and you can spin up very personalized, targeted campaigns in an instant that will allow you to convert at a much higher level than before.
Absolutely.
And that's, you can call it
personaization.
Personaization. But it is very impactful.
So it's just more impactful targeted marketing. At the end of the day, it's the right story to the right people.
Correct, and the right price, of course, right? That's,
and even the right, by default, the right price. But the right story, and maybe this is where I shift to Peter here. What are your thoughts on hyper-personaization in that sense?
I absolutely love it, and you can use big technology, but you can just use a £25 ChatGPT account. And I've run workshops with all sorts of teams, marketing and communications teams in-house. And I said, look, we will develop 10 different personas for the types of visitors that will come to your venue. And ChatGPT will synthesize that and create a persona for you. And then what you do is you just run your campaigns, your communications, it could be your internal communications or your external marketing, through the system and say, rate this piece of content based on the persona. And it will tell you how to make the improvements. And it's really easy to do. Like I could spend 1 hour, I could teach most people how to do that. That's never been able to do before, because what would have happened in the past is you would have spent tens of thousands of pounds doing market research, and then you'd have to do it all over again and all over again. Now you can do it at almost no price point.
Yeah.
That's just revolutionary. And it's definitely been a game changer for the work we've been doing.
Yeah. It almost has elements of a mass-tomization, right?
Yeah.
So customization for the masses where everyone still feels individual and unique in that sense, because they are receiving that targeted, defined persona.
I would just say on that there's a kind of thin line between the hyper focus and becoming a little bit creepy. We've all had this where we've searched something online and then it's following us around wherever we go, and you want to avoid that, but there's a time and a place where you get the right level of messaging.
Absolutely. And Peter, this is the perfect segue to the next topic, which is balancing AI and the human touch. And so, Peter, I'll ask you now, with AI playing a more prominent role in shaping customer experiences, how can brands ensure they maintain that authenticity that is so important and that human touch in their messaging?
Yeah, I think there's a danger, and I think one of the examples before did this, and I would highly recommend against it. If you're going to use AI, so we've introduced this 20-60-20 approach, which is 20% upfront, a lot of work making sure that you get the right information, the right prompts, the right strategy. AI does up to 60% of the work, and then the 20% at the end, you're fine-tuning it as humans. Because what you don't want to happen is AI just chucking stuff out that you haven't tested. So I come from a communications and journalism background. We're the editor-in-chief of every piece of work we put out, whether it's a big campaign or it's an email, using ChatGPT or a tool like that. So yeah, I think that's super important for me.
Good. And Klaus, as the industry moves towards more AI-driven decision-making, what role do you see human judgment in the whole revenue management process?
In Silicon Valley, they have this concept of human in the loop.
Human in the loop.
Human in the loop, which is basically the humans teaching the AI, how to become a better,
right.
better co-pilot or assistant.
Live
or whatever
feedback being provided.
It's live feedback, right? So, and this is a very, very important concept. I think in any area when you use technology, you can't exclude human input, right? We make, as I said, 18 billion decisions every day. We send that to the hotel. We still rely on the hotels to tell the system when something is happening that the system just can't predict, right? A cancellation, a strike, weather events like we had in the US this week. There are some things that the system just can't understand.
Yeah.
You need the human in the loop to tell the system what's happening and make the decisions or the outputs even better. Right? And I would encourage anyone to go online and search for Waymo stuck in the middle of a crossing. And Waymo is a self-driving taxi in San Francisco. There's lots of videos where the self-driving taxi gets stuck and stops in the middle of the road. And some human has to jump in and actually help the self-driving car to get out of the way. So it's even happening for companies like Google that are supposed to fix it.
Absolutely. It's very entertaining. I do recommend those Waymo quirks. But look, I mean, we're just at the beginning. We have to admit, Waymo it's an experiment right now. Yeah. And it's very limited in terms of geographic spread. Now, in 10 years, what can you imagine? It's going to be the new norm. And we were having discussions with my team about this. Imagine you're a guest relations agent in the hospitality industry, and you're interacting with the guests. You have a live feedback from AI on how you are coming across, on your tone of voice, on your body language. And so we're moving away, in some ways, I mean, that should we continue to go down that route, we're moving away from us guiding the AI to the AI guiding us in some ways, right? Do you see that potentially happening in revenue management?
Sounds like an annoying parent. Go away. We already do that. So yes, the answer is yes. We already have capabilities where you would say that the system makes the decisions and tells the person what the decision has been.
Right.
Basically not to worry about it. So, when something changes in the market or a competitor changes the price or you could see a change in data, the system will then change the price and will say, hey, you know what, this has happened, I've changed the price. You can either you can change it if you want to, or just know that everything is taken care of. So there's in technology, it's already happening, that the technology tells you what's happening, and it's up to you then to interact with that. Right?
Speaking about human touch, literally this time, Jens, how do you balance this out, really, when it comes to wellness, which is so personal at the end of the day?
Isn't it? Yeah, it is personal, but as I mentioned before, there are trends. Touchless wellness. So touchless wellness is no human interaction. We do not want to replace therapists because a robot cannot do all the treatment possibilities which are available. So we see Robosculptor more as a loyal team player in the team of therapists. And we are not as far with the AI that the robot decide what he wants to do. And we are good that the therapist is saying what the robot has to do. This will be more a support for the therapist. It can be 30 minutes robot, 30 minutes therapist. Because of the gap of therapists in the world, alone in the US we have 30,000 missing therapists. And even in the last 6 years, 40% of the schools to educate therapists closed. So this will become more and more an issue for hotels. And if you want to be a 5-star and 5-star plus hotel, you have to offer a massage and you have to do wellness and spa. If you don't do it, you are not a 5-star, 5-star plus hotel. So there needs to come solutions. And we see us as a part of solution, and we don't want to replace anyone.
Yeah. But then you'll have some which do want to replace, right? And then that becomes its own thing. It's a bifurcation of the market, right? You have,
No, you can think further. So this robot can stay in a wellness and spa, but this robot can stay as well in the president's suite. Okay, so the guest there wants to have maybe 2 or 3 times the massage at this time where he wants to have it, and that is then easy. You know?
By the way, I don't recommend 2 to 3 massages per day because then the capillaries become all red.
You do your legs first, then you do your back, and then you do something else.
Your skin starts looking weird. Good. Yeah. No. This reminds me a bit of for example, the pod hotels. Pod hotels, you just show up. There's literally 0 human interaction when you check in, when you check out, and all that jazz. But in the same way, they can have that massage therapy, again, which is zero human contact. So it's just, depending on the individual looking for that product, there is a product for them. So yeah, that's, I guess, where overall the market's heading. Interesting.
Yeah, correct.
Now, for the remaining 6 minutes, I'd like to touch on the future trends and your advice. Starting off with Klaus. What skills should hospitality revenue managers focus on moving forward as AI becomes more powerful and starts making more decisions on your behalf?
Yeah. But firstly, it's because we have a small group here. If anyone has any questions, you can also probably put your hand up or see us later. So I think coming back to the human in the loop.
I think we'll have some time for for Q&A. Yeah.
Like that human in the loop concept. I love that concept of using AI as your like a buddy or coach or thought partner, as somebody has described it to me. You can go today and have the AI run your reports and aggregate data in an instant and send it back to you in the format that you want with the layout that you want. But you can also ask it a lot of questions like, how would my general manager act? Or how would my financial controller act? Or how would somebody at the corporate office act? And you can have it play roles, and you can role play, as a mentor or coach, as a thought partner. So I find it fascinating that you now have the capability to have somebody next to you to say, well, how would you, if you play this role, how would you act, and what kind of advice can you give me, how I can sharpen my skills when I do presentations or pitches or budget meetings or forecast meetings, and help you become a better person.
Right. So
when you're presenting.
So it's the argumentation and the presentation that are key skills here that, given everything that's an enabler now,
Correct.
On the technical side, you don't need to be as technical anymore. You need to be more of a people skills guy.
Ultimately, you're telling stories with data,
Yeah.
right? And you're trying to convince and influence others to make decisions that you want to have to happen. And you can now use the AI to help you become better at that. And you can use AI to help you aggregate data and turn it into information much more quickly.
Focus on becoming a better storyteller. That's it.
That's right.
In a nutshell.
That's right.
Good. Talking about storytelling.
I 100% agree with what you're saying there. Just building on that, so what's happening is we've got infinite knowledge at our fingertips at all time. That's never happened in human history, which means that if you have they call it a co-pilot, and that could be a ChatGPT or it could be Microsoft Copilot, whatever it is, increasingly that becomes our go-to for anything. It could be, so we call it an AI halo. You build these tools around you as a person, your team, or your organization, and it can be simply ChatGPT, or it could be a bunch of bigger tools, and it just helps you do your job better. So I think for me that's the biggest trend, is just that ability to augmentate how we live our lives, get advice. We could get advice on the hospitality, it could be on training and development, it could be on literally anything, because these large language models have the ability to give you that information very quickly. But the challenge, and this is the bit where certainly the future communicator comes in, is firstly, most organizations don't know where to begin. So we work on big inspiration. So what is the art of the possible? Then it's mapping out your work. So it will be stuff like, where can AI fit in to the loop? Is there a solution? And in many cases there isn't, but in many cases there are. And then it's upskilling your teams to make sure that they know how to prompt and know how to work with the technology, because there's no point having technology that nobody knows how to use. And then it's to go back over that every 6 months or so, because the technology is evolving so quickly. So for me, the challenge, particularly for the hospitality sector right now, is it's often quite traditional, and you need to get off the starting blocks, and it's really implementing AI at a basic level at the moment.
Now, when you say traditional, is it the fact that these companies have already invested so much into their brands, from a marketing perspective, voice of the brand, how it appeals? Do you think that protectionism is too strong and needs to just be eroded?
No, I think it's more, if you have senior leadership who don't understand the art of the possible, they're less likely to allow their staff to take advantage of it. So I think front of house, for example, has a huge opportunity. You could, Meta have introduced a new pair of glasses which are AI enabled. In the future, you should be able to, use that to get extremely powerful data directly to you to help you do your job. But even in the back office, in the organizational side of the business, HR, comms, marketing, there's huge opportunities that we could do right now with existing technologies. So I think it's all to play for, but it requires a high level acceptance that this can help you drive efficiency and effectiveness in your organization.
Brilliant. Jens, a quick short one for you. So yeah, how do you see, looking ahead beyond, so in the wellness industry, but beyond robotics, how do you see that really impacting the world?
If I stay with the wellness and spa, I would say today when I'm going to visit a hotel, and I like the hotel, everything is nice, the service is great, everything is great, the team is good, trained on sales, everything is nice. So you go out and leave the hotel and you feel emotional good. I see it in this way going, that the guests, they want to have also a result, a physical result. So coming back to wellness and spa, say we have a hotel and we have a longevity center, which is actually wellness and spa, and everything included. I see it is coming that there is a diagnostic which is already available in the US. It's very cheap. You just put 1 drop of blood into the diagnostic system. You get 200 results out of your blood. I see AI coming in with a software. You put in your weight, your age, what kind of, if you're vegetarian or whatever. And this AI software will create the food program for you. It can be like in the Lanzerhof that you have a star Michelin cook who is doing it for you, or you have a robot who is mixing you a smoothie.
Yeah.
And then you go to the, then you have your right food to get your right vitamins and all the particles or whatever you need.
Macros.
And then you come to the physiotherapist who is doing with you the stretching, a little bit sports. It needs to be only 15, 20 minutes. And then you get your massage for the lymphatic drainage and for the deep massage. And after 2 weeks, 3 weeks of spending in this hotel, you do again a blood test. And you will see an improvement.
Yeah,
and this is the result. So you go out of the hotel saying, yes, it was great, emotional, but it was all over good for my body.
Scientific monitoring to the extreme. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, everyone, thank you very much for participating. A hand for our panelists.